Few weeks ago, I showed you how I created this tank. It was a very fun build and the end result was just spectacular. What I got from it was a vibrant, healthy and algae-free tank. Just look at it, look at the colors. But the most impressive thing about it was the fact that it only took 3 weeks to grow like that. From that into this. If you're interested in details about this build, I linked the build video in the description, so you can check it later. And during that video, I made a promise that I will come back to it and show you how I trim this kind of tank, how to shape those stem plants, and how to maintain it. So, let's do it now, because there are some tricks to learn about this process. As always, let's jump straight to the point. As you can see, after I showed you the initial video, I let this tank grow a bit wild. It's because originally the tank looked really good and there was no actual need to trim it. But after additional 2 weeks, you have to admit, it's just desperate for trimming session. But before we move on to actual cutting, let's do some planning. It's always a good idea to think about what you want to achieve before you cut, because after that, it's just too late. This is where we are today. It's obviously overgrown and we do need to cut those plants. But how? Let's think about it. First of all, we should avoid very straight cuts. Like that. It will look very artificial. Plants will still try to grow in the direction of the light, and it would create very fake looking contrast with the shape of our hardscape. It would be much better if plants would follow the flow and shape of our mountains. So, you might think that this pattern of cutting would be better. And you would be correct. It would be better, but not perfect. If you cut all plants following this line, there will be no real depth effect. When you cut plants in the front to the same length as the plants at the back, you will end up with bad-looking green stems right here in the center once they are starting to grow back. It's because this area will be shaded from above, and light will not be able to reach it. To avoid this, you need to cut in this curved shape, but you also need to cut more in the front and go up in the back. Something like this. I hope I don't make it too complicated, but it's really important detail. This will really make everything look much better later, when our plants will start to grow back. So to summarize, this is a big no, this is better, but still no, but this will be perfect. But okay, enough of this boring part. Let's get to work and show you on an actual example. And this is a good place for advice number 1. Before trimming dense tank like this one, always remove your floating plants. If you don't, all trimmings will get mixed with them and you will create a huge mess that will be difficult to clean. And if you try, you will throw out a lot of your floating plants by accident. Trust me. But if you remove them, you can easily put them back when you're done, and they will be free from all debris. Now we can start cutting. As you can see, I take my time and start from the front. This is because I want it to be my point of reference. It's totally fine if you need to make some adjustments, and you don't have to be perfect with your first cut. You can trim the same stem few times, and you can always go deeper with your cuts. Remember that once you cut it too short, there is no going back. So it's just safer this way. I'm slowly moving down, but notice how I work around those rocks. I'm trying to follow the shape we discussed earlier. I'm cutting much deeper at the front and leaving my plants a bit longer in the back, especially in the middle of my tank. If we do it right, you will see an interesting pattern in a second. Here it is. Now you can observe that plants right here, front center, are almost completely green. It's because those are the plants that I cut the most. Then center back, right there, are a little pink, because I left them a little bit taller. And on the sides are still almost completely red. And it all makes perfect sense. And it's exactly why we need to cut like this, because those are the parts of the plants that are shaded, and therefore green, not red. It also shows that we were cutting following exactly the shape that I planned at the beginning. This way, once they are all starting to grow back, we should see vibrant red colors everywhere, without any green spots in the middle. Even if they all grow like 2-3 centimeters, the tips in every place in this tank will be red, and this is exactly the point. And here I have second advice. During trimming session, it's good to remove floating cuttings using a fish net. It's a very effective way, and when you do it, you limit the possibility that those cuttings will get stuck between hardscape or plants that are left. Those cuttings might rot and spoil your water, so try to be precise here. And my next advice is, when you remove those cuttings, I think it's a good idea to place them in tank water. People don't like to talk about it, but it's very easy to accidentally catch small fish or shrimp when you remove those trimmings. So every time I do that, I place them in water to check if there is something swimming in there. In the past, even though I was very careful, I was finding some amano shrimp or baby fish between those trimmings. And it happened many times. So please don't neglect this part and double check. By the way, I'm also cutting my Monte Carlo a bit, but this video is focused on shaping long stems of Rotala, so I will not spend too much time on it. But for now, we are done. The tank looks a bit weird, but at least it's not that chaotic. And don't worry about those plants, they will come back in no time. And to prove it, let's jump in time and see how it develops. And only after 6 days, our Rotala is coming back. You can already see some red tips growing everywhere. And you can see that the coloring is very consistent in all places. Of course, it's not perfect yet, and some green parts are still visible. But this is the proof that the shaping of those plants is correct. I know I'm repeating myself, but I'm trying to be precise. Because we cut so deep in the front, when those plants are growing back already red. They are not shaded from above, they grow with the same speed and density. And this is exactly what you want. So let's just wait additional few days and see what happens. And what happens is great. We have beautiful, consistent red Rotala everywhere. Look how vibrant it is already. Like I said, when they grow back already so colorful and healthy and dense. They fill the space between those rocks perfectly. And it only took like 10-11 days. I know that the starting point might look cool. Actually, it does look cool. They are crazy red and crazy long, but this situation is not sustainable. You cannot leave those plants like this. When your stems are that long, they start to shade the bottom area. So this is the last moment to cut them before they really go bad. And when you trim them following this pattern, they can still look healthy, beautiful, and will grow back. Now you can enjoy your tank looking beautiful for the next 2-3 weeks before you need to cut again. They will keep their colors, they will keep their shape. And for the next trimming session, all you have to do is follow the same pattern. This way, I was able to keep many stem plants healthy for months, and they always looked great. If you have any more tips about plant trimming, please share in the comments. It's always great to hear from you guys. Thank you very much for watching, and see you in the next one.